Hey, it's Brad Matala with another quick tip from Beyerdynamic, bringing big studio ideas to your home setup. While taking a coast-to-coast road trip last year, I got way into podcasts. For me, I get super excited when I discover titles that dive deep into the backstories of bands or music production. However, nothing frustrates me more than when the voices are not balanced or they sound like they're on a speakerphone, or even worse, when I have to constantly adjust the volume because the commercial level is 10 dBs louder than the show. In this episode of Quick Tips, I'll show you easy ways to edit, mix, and master your broadcast productions. Editing. Editing an audio file is a lot like editing a term paper. Give your production a listen and take out any long pauses, unintentional noises, even coughs and dog barks. I even take out non sequitur ramblings. This will support a more focused conversation. I also like to add intro and outro music to put your audience in a mindset that's ready to listen. Mixing. For me, mixing is typically performed on a DAW such as Pro Tools, but no matter which software you use, the principles are all about the same. The first thing I do is I filter out the very highs and the very lows of the voice. This is done with a parametric EQ, which typically affects audible sounds from 20 Hz all the way up to 20,000. You can see the frequencies listed on the EQ graph. I then create two additional EQ curves. I'll first sweep the upper curve between 900 and 4000. At this point, you may want to tighten up the curve so you can gain more of a focused sound. I'm looking for the frequency that most resonates with the voice. When I find that frequency, I'll typically boost the curve between 3 and 6 dB. On the second curve, I'll sweep the low-mid frequencies, looking for muddy sound. I keep the curve a bit wider and more subtle than the first curve that we made, and when I find my frequency, I invert the curve to remove the dull tones. On each dialogue track, I add a compressor. I typically set the ratio to 4:1 and keep the response time in the middle of the road. The threshold can be set to remove, 2 to 4 dB of gain. This may seem subtle to your ears, but we will add additional compression as part of the mastering process. On the next step, I remove any room noise, such as fans or air conditioners with a denoiser. And lastly, if the voice is sibilant, I'll add a de-esser. Mastering. The final step is mastering. I like to add another EQ, multi-band compressor, and a brick wall limiter in the signal chain on the master bus. At this point, I'm adding another high and low pass filter with a gradual curve. If additional EQ is needed, I'll do it now. I then add a multi-band compressor at 100, 800, and 5K. I set the ratio of each section to 3:1 and then set the threshold to remove about 2 to 4 dB. I then use the leveler to up-gain the track so the average voice is leveling at about -12 dB on the master fader. And I have a brick wall limiter set to -1 dB to stop any loud transients from clipping. Getting a pro sound may take some practice. Feel free to ask any questions you have in the comment sections below. And as always, hit the like button to see more quick tips and artist features from Beyerdynamic. Have a great one. I'll see you in the next video.